What's the fastest way to learn screenwriting?
The fastest way to learn screenwriting, God, I I don't know how to answer that question. William Goldman says it's screenwriting is something where sometimes your second or third one out is as good as it's as good as it's going to be, and but I don't know. Screenwriting is a craft. I mean, you know, they asked Margaret Atwood was at a party once, and some guy some guy said, "What do you?" She said, "What do you do?" And he said, "I'm a heart surgeon." No, he said, "I'm a brain surgeon." And he said, "What do you do?" And she said, "I'm a writer." And he said, "Oh, you know what? When I retire, I'm going to be a writer. I'm going to write." And she said, "Oh, that's great, because when I retire, I'm going to be a brain surgeon."
I can totally picture her saying that
So
too. Yeah.
it's really hard work, and it's a craft. And I think that I think sometimes there's another quote. I can't remember who the writer was, but he said, "Writing is a writer is someone for whom writing is more difficult than it is for others."
Well, I love the Margaret Atwood though, because I remember hearing an interview where her family said to her, "Okay, it's going to be difficult for you to be a writer, but we have someone we can invite over and maybe they can give you advice."
Right.
And they were like a journalist at a paper, and they said,
Right.
"Most likely you'll be writing, wedding announcements and obituaries," because at that time that's
Yeah.
what women did, and so
Right.
I don't think that was something that she wanted to do, but she kept with her poetry and these different things.
That's what, Francis Coppola, he went to film school, and then he said he was hoping that he was going to get to do industrial films. And that was going to be, and so, and he worked for Roger Corman, and he was, I think it's that humility. I think when we sort of expect that we're supposed to have everything handed to us, nothing happens. But if we just put our nose down and just keep working, great things can happen. And so, circling back to your question about and now I'm blanking on the
the fastest
question.
way to learn screenwriting.
Yeah, the fastest way to learn screenwriting is writing 24 hours a day.
Okay.
Except that's not true, because if you don't have, because that's what I used to do when I first started writing. Not 24 hours, but I wrote all day long, and I didn't have a life, and it wasn't until I kind of got a life and started to have experiences outside of comedy clubs and, going home and writing in my garret that I actually had something to write about. So, Paul Newman he said, if you want to be a writer, get a couple of divorces under your belt, have something to write about and have something that you really care about. There are way easier ways to make money than being a screenwriter. Woody Allen said, "I made more money selling my Fifth Avenue duplex than I made in my entire film career." So it's if you want to make money, buy rental properties. But if you want to be a screenwriter, tell the stories that matter to you.
Right. Well, I mean, if you were a comic, I'm sure there's a lot of material, even if it's just within, you can have stories about cocktail waitresses and club managers, and I mean, so there was something.
No. Comedy isn't about finding material. Comedy is about having a voice. If you have a voice, everything can be funny. Anything can be funny. Mitch Hedberg's joke about, he said, "I love rice." I'm going to butcher it, but I love eating anything. I love eating 2,000 of anything. But in other words, you don't have to, if you go out and have a life, you're going to have something to write about. If I'm just in comedy clubs all day, I guess I could write about cocktail waitresses, but the joke is about my point of view. So the way you're going to develop a point of view is engaging with the world and starting to experience what it's like to be a human being. Then, because the joke isn't going to be about the cocktail waitress, The joke is going to be about your relationship to the cocktail waitress.